Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I'm happy you're here, and I would love to know more about you and what you like to stitch, and maybe even your stitching journey if you'd like to share. So fun. I love reading about everybody's journeys. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. Whether you have been here, this is video number 231. So whether you jumped on video number 230, or if you've been here since video number 1, I am so appreciative of you taking the time to hang out with me. And that was really brought home this past week. So last week I had talked about the fact that I have reached 6,000 subscribers. And so many of you were so gracious in your congratulations. And some of you talked about being with me from the very beginning, which, whoa, right? It's one of those funny things with time, right? It's not that long ago, but it feels like so long ago. And we've shared a lot, some happy, some sad, and everything in between. And so I am just grateful for you to be here, and thankful for all of those kind words. I have read all the comments. I haven't responded. I was a little overwhelmed, but know that you are in my heart, and I do really appreciate it. And oh, just so lovely. And a special shout out to all of my friends who love different teams than Aston Villa. The fact that I asked you to say Villa for the giveaway, I understand and appreciate how difficult that was for some of you. You get it. You get it if you are a very strong fan of somebody else. You understand. So thank you for doing that. I got a little chuckle. And I'll have you know that Mo absolutely loved that I used that word for the giveaway this week. He got a good chuckle out of it too. And they won this past weekend, so even better. Okay, anyway, moving on. I have my regular amount of stitching, no starts, no finishes, just plugging along on my projects. I tried a new craft this week. I'll talk about that after the stitching. And then I've got some plans. It is August 23rd, which blows my mind. And yeah, we are sailing right into September, and much as I am so sad to see summer go, because you know I am a summer girl. I love, love, love summer, and really, really, really don't like being cold. So this is my time. But I love September and October and November for the holiday. So I am looking forward to turning the page on the next month and see what September brings. And we'll talk about that in stitching plans. Okay, so before I show you my stitching, 2 things. One, if you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Paper Laura, and all the information is down below if you're interested to see how you can reach out to me or join me on Facebook or Instagram or just on Gmail. And so I collaborated with Just Cross Stitch magazine this week and did just a quick little fun little video talking about 2 patterns that I would like to and am considering stitching on from, oh my goodness, you know the words, the Just Cross Stitch Halloween issue 2024. And so have you weighed in yet? Have you told me what your thoughts are? I'm not going to tell you what they were. You have to go watch the video and let me know what you think. And if you'd like to stitch along with me on whatever gets chosen, then I would love that. I would love to do that. So I'm going to keep a tally and a score, and we'll see what happens. The other thing I wanted to just send a quick shout out to a Flosstuber that was new to me. My friend Amy from Renewing Stitches. Hi, Amy. She had sent me a message and said, Laura, I was just watching a Flosstuber and they mentioned Delaware. And for those of you who are new, I live in Delaware. And so I was like, wow, I've got to check her out. And she is lovely. So her channel is Stitch, Read, Repeat, Caitlin. And she has 3 videos. So she is a newer Flosstube. I get the sense that she lives more in more in the north of the state rather than close to me, but I don't know 100%. I might have missed if she said specifically where in Delaware she is. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Rehoboth Beach, and she has such a wide variety of stitches. If you want to see a whip parade, that was her first video, and she talks about her stitching history and just everything about what she's stitching. And then she has also now started to introduce Stitch, Read, Repeat, some book reviews. And so it's always so fun if you like to read or you're interested in finding different books to read or just people's reviews. I feel like a lot of stitchers read. Now, whether they're audiobooks or physical books, I mean, it's all the same. And so it's fun to hear somebody else's recommendations. So I will link her down below if you'd like to visit Caitlin. I'm hoping she comes out with a video again soon because I've really enjoyed watching her. Alrighty, so let's talk about mine. Let me have a quick sip of my green tea. This is about the extent of the caffeine that I can take, and I need it this week. I'll talk about that later. Anyway, all right, so what did I do? Well, speaking of just cross-stitch Halloween, I pulled out last year's, this was the 2023 issue, and pulled out one of my projects that it's not going to get done at the end of the month, but I was looking through to see what was closer to a finish. I think unless I do a trading card, I'm not sure I will have a finish in August. It'll be the first month out of the year that I won't have a finish. Most of my stuff is just a little bit too far away from finishing. But that is the pattern that I pulled out. It's called Nobody is Home, and it is from, let me flip over, L. Noonan of Stitch Sprout. And I just loved everything about this when I saw it. And let me show you. This is the one and only time I have ever sought out the called for fabric of what the model was stitched on. You know that 99 times out of 100, I pick my own and very often go in a totally different direction. But there was something about this that just, oh, I just loved it. And yes, it is probably this right. This is 18 count Ectoplasm, and it is from Oblong, Meow. And I found that store on Etsy, and that's where I ordered from. So isn't it so much fun? Oh, so fun. And I'm a big fan of purple, so it's even more fun. I just decided to do, I did quite a bit of kind of the black outline. Actually, I don't even know if that door was there before I started stitching. And kind of started to bring the house down. Down here, there'll be steps. Kind of, this window is kind of a new kind of addition. And then, did I start? No, the next thing, if I had had more time, I think I would have started filling in the ghosts. But the door is completely, you know what, there's just that little opening right there. So the door is almost completely stitched. And then a lot of it was just filling. Now, I do have the clouds on this side. I've been debating whether I want to do all the clouds on this side or maybe just one. The design is pretty, almost, not 100%, but is almost symmetrical on both sides, but not a complete matchy match. But I'm wondering if I want to do, there's a small one right here, and I might take out that little one and just do the small one here and do 3, and then there's, you know, 3 on this side, but maybe just do the big one kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure. That'll be an end decision. So I'll work and finish the house part first, and then I'll go back and make a decision on what I think with the clouds. To be honest, part of why I'm doing that, do I have that stitched? Yeah. I really struggled for some reason. I don't know why. I struggled with the clouds. So part of me is kind of like, if I do this and then kind of just have this, it may never get done. But if I kind of, you know, tone it down a little bit, then the odds are I'll mess up less, first off, and then second, it'll get done faster. So this will be fun to have for Halloween. You know that I generally don't do a lot of home decor with, well, decorating in general. I have just little nods here and there to things, but generally my stitching stays up here. So whether or not I put this, I think it'd be fun to have a little Halloween. I have one of those Hirschner trees. one like a little Halloween tree, and I would put this at the base almost. It's going to be a little too big for an ornament, but it could be a leaner. You know, I really like to make leaners, what I call leaners. It's basically, what are the things that have the kind of the triangle backing to them? I just don't do the backing part. I just lean it against something, whether it's a wall or whatever. And I have my shelves that I a lot of times put those on. So that would be my idea. It'll lean somewhere. Probably instead of going in the scrapbook, because I think it'd be fun to have out. It's cute. So that is me starting to get myself into some more fall stitching, Halloween stitching. I pulled out another piece that has fall colors. Oh, and I do have another kind of sort of Halloween-y piece. So you can see I'm making the transition, but at the same time, I said I'm pulling out something summery as well, because I just can't give up summer stitching. So I did not do that new start that I talked about. We'll see. I mean, I have a lot of projects, but I really like that one. And, you know, unless you start it, it's not going to get finished, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't even know. Next week will be a busy week. So, you know, now I'm saying that, I don't know, unless I really need a new start for some reason. I don't know if that'll happen. Okay, next. Digital patterns. So let me scroll through in my stitching list on my iPad. And this one is Arabesque. And it is from Hicks Creates. I did pre-order the sunflower one from Hicks. I'm so excited. I pre-ordered, and I, for the life of me, can't remember the other two. I pre-ordered 3 patterns from Lindy Stitches, and no idea. I'm going to have to go back to my email that confirmed the order, because it's no clue. I started this with Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, and Paula from Stitching in High Heels. And we called it, the hashtag we used, I don't know, you don't know how many times, because I'm going to tell you, now you'll know, I restarted this video probably 6 times, because my mouth is just, my words are bumbling over. What I'm trying to say and what I'm thinking and everything else is 2 different things today. So Beth and Paula are also stitching this with the hashtag Arabesque Sal. I know that Jan Hicks' Facebook page also started this on August 1st. I don't know if they're using that hashtag as well, or if they have something different. I haven't checked recently. I'm really not always great about just, if I'm going to use a hashtag, I will check to see if I see it anywhere, you know, if I'm going to start something officially, but otherwise I never really know. Sometimes I kind of bumble into it. But anyway, this is what I have. Now, what Paula and what Beth are doing are vastly different, and that is the beauty of this pattern, because there is so much that you can do to just personalize it and make it your own. This is done on an 18 count. It's an unnamed fabric. I don't have a label, lost it somewhere along the way. It's kind of, it kind of feels in some ways as the fabric that reminds me of dyeing for cross stitch, but I'm not sure if it's Kathy's or not. So I can't tell you, but I knew I wanted to do something similar to what Jan Hicks, actually, I think I showed you the iPad, but it's not. I actually do have the physical pattern. That might be just show you the color a little bit better rather than my picture. But I loved that color scheme, and so I did want to do that. And I am using a variegated, it's called Elvin Wine, and it is from Stitchy Stuff on Etsy. And I really enjoy kind of dipping my toe into some variegated and just throwing them here and there in some of my stitching, especially my monochromatics. Not all of them, but in this case, yes. So that's where I've gotten. I did a little bit of everything. I kind of worked a little bit up here. I finished around here. I started doing around here. So I kind of just jumped around depending on what I felt like stitching on. Now, speaking of monochromatic, I remember I threw out the fact that I was going to start stitching some monochromatic on Mondays. And I threw out, oh, I'm sure somebody is doing monochromatic Monday, because, you know, that's an idea that I'm sure has been kind of bounced around by somebody. But I don't know. I haven't checked. And then Nancy, the disorderly stitcher, reached out and said, I love the idea of Monochromatic Monday. And being much more efficient and better at social media than I am, Nancy created a great kind of graphic for Monochromatic Monday and so on and so forth. So if you'd like to stitch something monochromatic on Mondays, come join us. Let us know. I know she would love to see what you're stitching. And I think, Nancy, I think you would. You seem to love stitching as much as I do, so I would say so. And I absolutely would love to know what you're stitching. So please let me know. But that is Arabesque from Jan Hicks. The sunflower one that I do have coming at some point, I loved it. And then I heard about the, is it Sunflower September kind of stitch along. And so I am totally, I'm in on that. So we'll be adding yet another Jan Hicks to the already 4 that I am stitching. Gotta love Jan Hicks. And I love Jan's variety. So there's just so much different types of stitching that she, or patterns that she kind of thinks of and creates. And it just feels so something for everyone kind of idea. And the patterns are fabulous. They're usually really well charted as far as I can tell, the ones I've seen. And I just really enjoy stitching Jan. Might have to have a Jan Hicks January at the rate I'm going. Alrighty, let me look for the next one here. I started this one last October. Speaking of which, do we know October is coming up fast and furious? For those of you who are new, I was born in October, so my birthday is rapidly approaching. And I have, for the last few years, wanted to celebrate, and we have a hashtag Pumpkin Birthday Sal stitch along. And it is open continuously. It never closes. I mean, whether you stitch it in March, it's still Pumpkin Birthday Sal if you want. And it's anything with a pumpkin adjacent, pumpkin colored, and now there's lots of colors of pumpkins, so you can kind of just even jump off of it somehow or other. So think about that for October, forgetting my own birthday month. Anyway, this is called Autumn Still Life, and this is from Owl Forest Embroidery. And I did start it last year. I didn't get super far, but I've also changed one of the colors. I did not get their threads. I was using the DMC alternatives, and in some cases, I like their options. There was one specific one, and if you look, whether it's the sunflower or I had stitched that little bit first, and I wasn't really loving the choice that they had done. And then it starts coming all over here, and it's in a bunch of different spots. So I changed it up a little bit, and it took me a little time to kind of get into that idea and groove, and this sat for quite some time. I'm just gonna fold it in half for now because you don't need to see the rest of that. This fabric is 18 count Ocean Air, and it is from Fox and Rabbit. So let me see here if I can find, I wanna say, what am I doing? Yes, so that's the one. This was the original that they had given as the DMC alternative for the flower up here, say with those. And in looking at it with all the other threads, it looked like it went. But when I put it in and I stitched that little bit, it was such a brightness that kind of clashed with everything else. So I spent some time going through different threads. So instead of 741, I ended up with 977. So you can see the difference. This one's much brighter than this one. They're along the same family, but something about the brightness of that just really was harsh. So I pulled this one instead, and you can see it's in here. It's in the sunflower. Actually, that would be a sunflower, wouldn't it? I'm calling it a sunflower. So I'd have a couple for Sunflower September if I wanted. And then, you know, here in this case, with this center one, I don't know if I would maybe throw in a variegated specifically for that. I did pull out some different, I pulled out a Roxy floss that I had maybe for the pumpkins or the leaves, I have a Classic Colorworks, a Dying for Cross Stitch, a Roxy Floss, and a Stitchy Stuff. So you can see it's very eclectic. But I have these different colors that I might somehow or other in different places add into this piece. So we'll see. I'm not really sure. So it wouldn't be a like for like necessarily, that entire symbol, but there might be parts with like the pumpkin or that large flower that I might end up saying, let's add a little bit of something here. So that's where I am. I need to pick this back up again. And now that I have kind of looked at some of the colors and changed or have some ideas about flosses, I feel better about it. I was kind of stalled, to be honest with you, because of the color situation. And so now that I am feeling and better about that, I think I might be able to kind of jump right back in and do some more of it. So keep an eye out for that one and hopefully some progress. It won't be done by this October, but that was never really necessarily the plan anyway. What's next? I need to find it. Most of you, if you've been watching Flosstube for the last few years, you would have seen this, and I'm not sure why I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Because I was looking for purple, and the original was not done on purple. This is Haunted Library Stitch Along. It is from Lola Crow. It was a mystery stitch along a couple years ago, and I waited till it was fully released because I loved it, but I didn't know if I would love it until I saw all of it. I will change the clown. That really kind of spooks me out in a not fun way, so I'm not going to stitch it or have it stitched if I don't enjoy it. But everything else, I've kept it, including the colors, which, you know, I mean, it would be hard to do some changes on something so kind of fun and out there. This fabric here is 18 count. It's called Imagine from Mystic Fabrics. This was a fabric of the month back when I was doing Misty's fabric of the months, and I had no idea what I would stitch with it. This is why I love fabric of the months. And then once I started doing this, I said, yep. This is one of the few that maybe it's slightly less kind of mottled, bright, stark as you see it here, but not a lot. And so it was one of those that I was kind of not sure what to do with. But once I stitch all of this, you know, I mean, the majority of this is sort of full coverage with just a little bit showing. So it's going to complement it rather than clash it. So I think it's really going to be a lot of fun. And I kind of did both sides. I was working a little bit on her. I had originally made a mistake on her a long time ago. So it took me quite some time to figure out what went wrong and get that put in. You know, it's been a series of stitching along the way with that one. So that's something I worked on. And then I also came over here, did some fill-ins. I started to do some books. So I would pick a color here, and then I would kind of find it over here and go back and forth that way. So there was a lot of little mixture. I kind of started to work on some of the candles and pretty much just would pick colors. You can see it's kind of obvious that I haven't worked on that yet. On the Lola Crow website page, no, not website, Facebook page, there is a typewriter that was kind of put as an option if you didn't want to do the clown. And so I definitely think that I would like to use that instead. And how perfect is that, considering with all of the books and, you know, authors and so on and so forth. So I think that would be a lot of fun. I actually use this for for the acrostic in Crafts and Books at Edgar Allan Poe, because Poe is right here. There was 2 E's, and E's for some reason, there's eyes and ears and ecru. I mean, there's plenty of choices, eagles, but they always seem to get me. So when I saw that, I said, oh, that's perfect. I'll do that. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, excuse me, if you've been looking at the previews coming out, I think this weekend is the market, the online market. Lola Crow has a new one out. Is it kind of like a ballroom-ish sort of thing? I'm going to see if I have enough fabric from this original and what the size of it is, I think that would be a lot of fun if I stitched both of them on this fabric. And I think this would fit in the scrapbook. I don't think it's going to be more than 12 by 12. That would be a fun 2-page collection, wouldn't it? Between the library and kind of like that ballroom, and have the same fabric kind of themed through. So we'll see. I was just thinking about that this morning when I was looking for the fabric name on that might be really kind of cool to make those kind of companion pieces almost. So we'll see. I don't think I pre-ordered that one because I was thinking I might want to order the digital on that one versus the hardcover on that. So we'll see on that one. I keep thinking, if I keep playing in my mind, what are the other 2 things? It's bugging me. What did I order? Don't know. All right, next I pulled out. This is from the summer, right? Yes, summer 2024, Just Cross Stitch magazine. And we started this at the beginning of July, and it is Land That I Love. And it's charted by, or designed by Barbie Lowe. I'm going to go with Twisted Willow Designs. And we did start a stitch along. It's hashtag JCS, Land That I Love SAL. And it's full coverage. I'm not going to do any back stitching there. To back stitch on a full coverage, I'd have to have a very specific reason to do it. I just want the picture. Now, you know that I've had some trials and tribulations figuring out how to do this digitally, because I have embraced, for full coverage, not so much for everything else, but for full coverage, I have embraced the idea of the digital apps, whether it's Pattern Keeper, Markup. I know some people use GoodNotes, whatever it happens to be. And so I really wanted to try to figure out if I could do something with this. This is done on an 18 count white aida too, if you're wondering. 2 strands over 1 full cross. And thanks to some very patient individuals, I was able to at least upload it to Markup. I had got it. I clearly, because I show the hard copies, I clearly have a subscription that's hard copy, not digital. But there is a way, if you subscribe, to get digital versions of the patterns. The problem was that I was able to do that, but I couldn't figure out, I save everything in Dropbox, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it. So I couldn't get it into Pattern Keeper. But this very patient individual was able to help me turn it and get it into to Markup. Now, Markup is ridiculous. It doesn't recognize the symbols. It'll say that the X is the same as the number 7, or the number 1 is also a flower. So I kind of don't use that so much. I just kind of, what I do is I make it big. I'm able to pick a symbol, unhighlight all the ones that it chooses, says it's the same symbol, and just highlight what I need and then go from there. So it's a little bit slower going than some of my other full coverages, just because I have to do that extra kind of administrative thing every time. You won't see some of the stitching because it's white. My goal would be to kind of do something really tight on this one, so it's going to be fine. I'm not worried about that. And of course, when there's this right here, will have other colors around it, so it'll be fine. You'll be able to see it. It's just when it's on its own on the white, it's tough to see. So I did, because I know some of you were asking about, you know, how to put it in these digital programs and so on and so forth. So I did reach out to Just Cross Stitch magazine, and I said, is there a tutorial or anything that you can give that would be helpful for those of us who are trying to do that? And they were really very nice. And they said, because of copyright issues, they do not have any tutorials like that. And they suggested that you reach out either to the designer or to Pattern Keeper or Markup and so on and so forth. Both Pattern Keeper and Markup have Facebook pages. I know Markup has a ton of YouTube videos for different functions. I'm sure if you were to go and search, if there's nothing, if you go and you ask, somebody could point you towards something, so on and so forth. So, and Pattern Keeper, I'm sure if you searched, you could see too, if anybody has addressed that before. So those would be the places really to ask for the help. I wish I was more computer savvy. I would be glad to help you if I could. I don't know. I know very, very, very little about all the ins and outs of all the kind of technical stuff of computers. So when I say thank you to somebody who is very patient, I mean it, because you almost have to, it is like step by step trying to talk me through something, quite frankly. But you know, that's just, my brain doesn't quite see it. And I'm just, you know, I do the best I can. And I rely on those who are smarter than me when it comes to technology. Now, I'm going to show this from, if you could sit there and try to do this from this, good luck, because it's very difficult to stitch this without kind of doing some work on it. But this is my Aston Villa piece. So I'll put it down. That was found, it was a freebie that I found on the internet. And I've said, I'd have to erase my search history, which I don't generally do. I mean, why? Because Mo and I share computers. And so I don't want him seeing this. If you are new, my 25th wedding anniversary is in, well, today's the 23rd, the 25th of September, so just about a month. And so I was stitching this for our avid Aston Villa fan, my husband Mo. And this was pretty much the only thing I could find. And I believe, thank you so much, Sarah, you were the one that was able to find it for me, because I couldn't find anything. And now, of course, they've changed their badge. It doesn't look like this, but that's okay. I'm rolling with it, and I am not good enough to chart something new. And I've said maybe next time I'll stitch it again, the new one, if I can figure out how to chart something like that. But anyway, this is where I am. I did change, I'm not saying the word prepared down here. And I did change, you're not gonna be able to see it quite yet. There is a star right there. I slightly made it a bit more symmetrical than what the pattern showed, but otherwise I've kept everything. I'm using Sulky on this and stitching it on 20 count. So this is 20 count Slate from Fiber on a Whim. And I am using one strand of Sulky. Now, yay, the yellow is completely done. I finished the lion, so that's completely done. And obviously that little bit of star is the only white. I decided to start coming down here now and fill in the border, and then all I'll have left is this blue, and it'll be just straight filling. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not going to get myself ahead of myself and say, oh, this is definitely done. But I did a very rough count. I was able to put it in markup, but it doesn't recognize the full pattern necessarily, but I'm able to like make it big and cross off things and save what I've done crossed off. Because when I printed it off, it was very hard to read the pattern printed off. So I have no idea how many stitches are in this. So it's hard for me to tell a percentage or how much is left. And I could have counted every box, but I did a very rough count. And through my math, if I do approximately 150 stitches a day, it should be done by September 25th. Now, okay, you're saying, well, it'll just be stitched. It won't be fully finished. And that's okay. That's fine. I think Mo will appreciate the effort, and then maybe we can decide together how I assume we were going to frame it and put it, he has some bookshelves in his office, and that's where his otter stuff is, and there's actual books and everything else, but I think that's where we might end up putting it. But my goal is to get the stitching done and have a finished stitch to show him for our anniversary, and then work from there. So that's where it is. You will see this every week, obviously, now until it's finished. And then I'm feeling good. Like I said, I'm not gonna count my chickens before they're hatched, but I'm feeling good, and I feel like we could get this done. So thank you to all of you who gave me encouragement about that and said you can do it. Or a little kick in the pants to say you can do it, right? One or the other. All right, next. I pulled out my Lighthouse. Now this is from Cottage Garden Samplings. It is house number 8 from the Fabulous House series. And I just love stitching these. When I say these, this is the first one in the houses. I need to kind of adjust that. But Cottage Garden series and the different series that they do are so much fun. They're intricate. I mean, look at in the lights coming from the lighthouse or in the lighthouse itself. There's patterns. So there's counting, and they're usually pretty solid. But oh, it's so much fun. And you know I was going to go kind of bright with this one as opposed to the original. I generally do with the Cottage Garden. I pull out a color that I think really is going to pop. Well, all these colors will pop on this. There's no blue necessarily in this one. So this is where I am. This is 18 count. What is this? You're all yelling at me. Compelling Conchis from Those Missing Stitches. You know how much I love Lynn's fabrics, and this one for Compelling Conchis for nautical and that kind of look, I absolutely love. This is the 3rd piece I'm stitching on. This, I think it's this actual piece. Well, no, maybe not. But I just, it is the 3rd piece I am stitching, though, that is kind of nautical related. I wanted to get a little bit of the Lighthouse in, so I did work on that mostly. And then, of course, I had to work on this to work on that. I think that was the main things I did. I think what you see here was already done. And I was curious to see how these colors would look on the, kind of on the blue, and I like it. I think it'll look fantastic when I've done all of it. And the beauty is I do not have to worry how the white is popping on this one. It is going to pop. This one is really fun to do. You can do some chunks of it in between doing some of the intricate, more patterny work. So I could definitely see keeping this one out on a regular basis or using it for different challenges. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, I just jumped on to this stitch along. This was not one that I had started at all, but there's the hashtag Let Your Lighthouse Shine Sal. And it was started by Andrew the Runner Stitcher, Laura from Lola D Stitches, and Alex, who is Salix Stitches on Instagram. And I believe it doesn't have to be, well, they started it with Comfort Lighthouse. It doesn't have to be that one. It could be any lighthouse. And we know there are a ton of lighthouse stitches, and I am determined to stitch all of them. So you will see lots and lots of lighthouse stitches, you know, from me. So that's what I have, and that's what I've come up with. And yes, you will see that, even though it might be more summery, it will make an appearance. And I did put it in this wonderful seagull bag. I thought that was perfect. That was a gift to me. Gifted to me, I should say. Alrighty. Next. Now, besides Land That I Love, which was my short-term furl coverage project, which I do generally a different one each week, I have the month-long piece that I have kind of adopted that idea of a month-long focus for this year, and I like it. So I think it'll continue moving on to 2025. What I might do is, I don't know yet. I know some people have already thought about 2025, had their plans set, and so on and so forth. I have just vague ideas, and by the time January rolls around, they could be different. So I hesitate to say 100% what I plan on doing, because I kind of just go with the flow in the end. But this month, I thought it was appropriate that I worked on mini Peridot, since Peridot is the birthstone of August. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Rachel Anderson. And I am so, if there was ever a pattern that I was never so happy to put in Pattern Keeper, it is this one. There is so much confetti up here. I think it'll look nice in the end. But man, if I was slogging through that with the paper like I had started with it, I'm not sure if I would keep with it. So you can see I haven't come too far down, but this is how big it is. So I'm almost getting there. You know, if you do your 3-inch margin, we're working our way down to that corner. And I have the 2 top corners. I don't know. Am I the only 3-corner full coverage stitcher? I love doing the 3 corners and then kind of working from there. Anyway, this is what it looks like. Again, like the other one, it is 18 count, white aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross. And I think I did work some down here, fill in, but again, like usual, I would pick a color or a symbol, I should say, and find that symbol, whether it was over here or over here, sometimes both, and do a strand or 2, or sometimes one day I would just look for that symbol. I think one day I needed some full, and so I just picked this color and worked because there's a big area of that color, and just kind of went back and forth. So we have, what, 8 more days before this one is finished. I think I've been pretty good at I try to do 100 stitches on average, some days more, some days less, but to average it out to 100 stitches, which would get it 3,000 in the course of a month. So I mean, that's not going to get it finished, but it will get moved along. So I'm happy with that. And that one had not gotten a lot of work this year. I think partly because it is so confetti heavy. I really like a nice mixture. I don't mind doing some, especially now with Pattern Keeper, but all of it just gets really tiring after a while. So I told you I pulled out summer, and yes, I did. I pulled out some Signs Series Summer. I usually call it Summer Signs in my head, from Twin Peak Primitives. Kind of that idea of the tier tray. I don't know how many. I know there's at least, I think there's a farm one. I don't know how many are in this Signs series. I've never really looked. But again, anything beachy, you know I'm in there. I'm in for it. This one is 18 count Caramel Macchiato by Fabrics by Stephanie. I really like this color for kind of beachy items, and look at how nicely the white shows up. I don't know if, did I use B5200? You know, I must have, because that's what's called for. But look at, because sometimes with the beige, the white really doesn't pop, but I feel like I don't need to worry about having to outline it at all. And in person, you can see it even better. And I did most of my focus down here. So we now have a basket with books and a little set of glasses next to the chair with the umbrella. Really fun. I am going to change the center to say Delaware. That'll probably be the very last thing I do because there's nothing like procrastinating. I did have to move over there was a mistake in how this was lined up in the charting. So I am moving it over slightly, which is why I would have otherwise probably come down, but I need to make sure I do the things on both sides, which is, you can see here, because it's going to come into the line of this a little bit differently than what's charted. There was a small little error in the basket, in the handles, but I was able to catch that. So that's okay. And I know there's a small error somewhere in these bathhouses. So I need to make sure I remember that as well. Where I'm going next, I think I might, like I said, like to do this. So I have both sides and then get this completely done and then start working back out this way. There's a lot of stitching, and this will be dense. This is dense. You can see it's full coverage and each one gets bigger. So there is some good dense stitching left to do. The other parts are fun because you know, you can do a little bit and get these fun little pieces showing up and going on it. So this one's a great one for kind of stitching challenges or games or whatever, because there's so many parts to it, which means there's a lot to kind of choose from. So you could see this any time of the year, basically, because of that. Okay, next. This one is another I had 3 monochromatics this week. I love my monochromatics. Oh my goodness, really do. Yes, it's my dragon. This is Celtic Dragon from 2x2 Stitch Art. And I keep telling you this, and the more and more I stitch it, I think you may only see this part in the end. I was originally going to stitch all of it. Then I was thinking, okay, I'm going to take out the border, just do this and kind of that half moon. But the more I stitch the dragon, the more I love it as is. And I think it would make more of an impact without having anything around it. And I think part of that is because of the fabric I chose too, which is just, in my opinion, phenomenal for this dragon. This is 18 count Phoenix from Bestitch Me. And I just love it. Love, love, love it. Now, again, I centered it on the fabric so that it would work for the entire piece, which makes me sad because if I had known, I would have pulled this over and had so much more of this fabric left. But that's okay. I think I have another thing of it because I think it was at least once a fabric of the month. This is done with Roxy Floss, and it is She's So Blue is the name of the variegated floss. And if you are new, I am a big fan of the Fourth Wing series. There's only 2 right now from, oh, I've just blanked out. Well, most of you would know. Rebecca Yaros, I believe it is. And this is Zayden's dragon. I have one that I think will be Terran. I believe that's how you say it. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't check. And then I have ideas. And then who knows? The 3rd book's coming out in January. Who knows what will be introduced from there? What kind of fun elements? But that's where I am with that. And I am super excited. I was a little bit worried coming down here, this side, that it wouldn't, that's how that's matching up because it doesn't come in anymore. But I was a little worried that they wouldn't, if I'd made a mistake somewhere in the counting, but they do. They're exactly even on the same line. So we're good. That's good. So now all I have is the center part. I started this in February for the hashtag Year of the Dragons Sal, Stitch Along, which is being hosted by Samantha, the Huga Stitcher, and Erica Fibers and Floss Canada, right? I believe. And it was basically, this is the Year of the Dragon, so to stitch something dragon. Now, because I think I'm going to keep it just this one section of dragon and not the rest of it, I think this could be done in the course of the Year of the Dragon. It's so much fun to stitch it because it's monochromatic. It just kind of flies because I just keep picking up another strand. And the cutest little dogs are walking by. The neighbor up the street, it's funny, they have one larger dog and then 2 little itty bitty dogs, and the 2 little itty bitty dogs are walking by and they're so cute. Oh my goodness. Cute, cute, cute. And this is in my dragon bag. Alrighty. 2 more pieces. Sorry. Got excited there. There was a letter I in the magazine monthly acrostic, I believe. And so now you all had given me this idea. And so while this piece is still unfinished, every time there's an I, I'm probably going to pull it out because it'd be nice to get a finish. It'd be great to get a finish by the end of the year. This one's called Ireland, and it is charted by Vlada X Stitch. I'm not stitching the word. Don't need to. I'm just going to do the outline of the country. And I was able to put this into Pattern Keeper, and I didn't originally. And it's a lot. And once I've put it into Pattern Keeper, it's going much faster. There is a mistake somewhere here, but I'm not going to worry about it. They're all basically the same colors, right? So, well, shades of the same color. So it'll be fine. I think for the most part, everything from here up is done. And now I'm working on here and working my way down this way. And so much fun. I'm enjoying it. I did change one of the greens because, you know, I was a little bit, I like the greens here as they're shown. I almost went a different direction with greens, kind of like a 902, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't remember, whatever those 900 ones are. But I pulled out the greens that were called for, and do I have in my notes here? I'm doing 471, I think, instead of 166. And so it's a little bit just less bright. The 166 was just a little harsh with all of the other ones. But otherwise, everything has been kept the same. And that kind of held me back for quite some time. I had stitched here, and then I was not sure what to do here because I had pulled the greens, and until I put them in, I didn't know what was going on with that. But I think it's going to work. I'm happy with it. 18 count, I believe it's called Champagne from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. I meant to double check my book and I forgot, but I'm almost sure it's Champagne. When I go to put the description box, I put down fabrics. If it's not that, it'll be in the description box, the proper one. So that's what we have. I forget what Magazine Monthly has put out their new acrostic, but I can't remember what the word is. So I can't remember if there's an I in it. But I think that's, in my opinion, a great way for me to get this one finished. Because every time that letter comes, I can just keep plugging away on this. Because ultimately, there's not that much. It's just a matter of just pulling it out. And I think that'll do it for me. I know I had been recently asked by somebody, you know, because I have a lot of patterns, or projects, I should say, that are started. Probably, I keep throwing out the number 80, but it's probably closer to 85 or 90 at this point because I've started more than I finished this year. And how do I choose? Because there's so many options. And one thing that really does help is the games and the challenges, because it makes me say, okay, sometimes I pick out something that you've seen and it's something on a regular rotation because I just want to stitch on it. But sometimes it gives me the chance to flip through and pick things that haven't seen some work in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it happens to be, 6 months. And that's how I get to it. And then I kind of just work that way. And it's been nice. It's been a good way for me to pick out the stuff that I want to stitch. Now we are on the last piece. This one is called Mary Poppins, and it is from Lena Ova on Etsy. Again, the information will be down below. There is a stitch along that Crystal and I have going. Crystal is from Skullsdane. I don't think I put down Crystal's name. Let me do that right now. I had forgotten to put my own hashtag for the stitch along on my notes here, because I have notes right below the camera. And so I forgot to write down Crystal's name. But so hashtag Lena Ova Sal. This is going to look a little different because I'm not stitching that giant, beautiful border. It's gorgeous, but I didn't want to stitch all that. So take that out, and there's no way I can kind of do this. What I should do is make a cropped picture of this and just crop out that so you can see it. If I remember, I'll do that. So just think about this section right here is what I'm doing. Now, that's still a lot of stitching. Don't get me wrong, right? So this is my last monochromatic Monday piece. This one has been slotted into my 4 large piece rotation. So once every 4 weeks, 500 stitches since I finished Black Vintage Sampler. And I started it with the tag right there. I need to kind of move that tag. That's where I got to. So it did get, I know it doesn't, you look at it and you say, really, that's 500 stitches? And yes, there is 500 stitches in here. Look at this fabric. This was a fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics this year. I don't remember what month. And it is called Uranus. It is 18 count. And I'm using just 939. I felt like the fabric would sing enough. And then the floss just needed to be, I didn't need to do a variegated in my mind. I think it's just going to be really pretty with that fabric in the background. It went seamlessly into Pattern Keeper. It's working beautifully there. So no problems with that. And I am really enjoying, I know you will see more Lena Ovas that I'll be stitching because it's really, really an enjoyable stitch. And this one you'll see once every 4 weeks, or maybe more often if I'm pulling it out for challenges and so on and so forth. You know me, I am a blue girl through and through. Love my blue. So blue fabric, blue floss, really pretty blue. It's just, what's there not to like about it, right? So I don't think you'd have to twist my arm to pull that one out. And it would be a great zoom piece because it's on Pattern Keeper. So really all I have to do is follow the pattern as I'm stitching it. So that's also kind of a positive too. All right, I need to just move around a little bit. Yes, we're hitting on my 1 hour where I need to start really moving around. So we'll get talking here. Plans. What are my plans? So I was going to say, I mentioned this at the beginning, but I don't remember which of the videos I mentioned in the beginning, that something was coming back. And that something is I Spy. I took a break in July and August because there was the Olympic stitching and I wanted everybody to have fun with that, not worry about I Spy. But I Spy is coming back. I'm currently working on the 10 prompts. It's basically a challenge that I started posting this year. I give you 10 prompts and you need to spy them on your project. Now, I am very, very liberal in the sense of if you want to make a case for it, even though it's not obvious, go for it. I don't need to have it be a specific 100% match. I feel like if you're creative to make a case for it, well then stitch it because you took the time for that to kind of make those connections. So I think you deserve to stitch it then. So it's not something that's very rigid. It's not something that has rules. It's pretty much just, in that case, especially if you have multiple projects, it's a little easier that way, right? Pull out things, maybe try to find the connections to things that maybe need that extra kind of work and love. So that's coming. I'm so excited. Then Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge. You know that I have been working on their acrostics every month. Well, in January, they do kind of a special kind of bingo-ish event. And in September, they also. I've never done AB Singo, which is the September bingo event. This is my very first year, and I'm super excited. I've done Bringo twice, last year and this year, but I did not last September. I don't know. I think I just didn't get my act together to do it. But I'm super, super excited to give it a go. And I have my little chart made up in my challenge little planner. And it's all drawn up. The numbers are in there. The letters are in their boxes. And I'm ready to rock and roll. So, and I'm not going to pre-choose what will be that letter. I'll hear what the pick is or see what the pick is. And then that day I'll just make a connection somehow or other. So I'm looking forward to that. I mentioned the acrostic from Magazine Monthly, and then there's the acrostic from Crafts and Books. Magazine Monthly does have their acrostic out yet. I'm not sure if Crafts and Books does, but I'm sure it'll be coming soon. She's usually pretty good about getting those out. And then I will be doing a flip through. I talked about last week that you would have seen it this week, but I didn't sleep at all this week. And so the days that I was thinking about filming, I was exhausted, and it just would have been a rambling mess, to be quite honest with you. And I didn't think that was fair. If I'm going to talk about this, I want to talk about it coherently. So I'm hoping to be able to get some sleep this week and be able to get a flip through that makes sense out to you. So keep an eye out for that. This is the new Just Cross Stitch magazine, the autumn 2024 issue. So there's that. Oh, so I started something new. I almost forgot about that. I had talked about, remember in July, I had gotten this set, and I know it's crinkly, but it was a set of those ugly sweater diamond painted ornaments. Well, they're keychains. They have the keychains there, but I'm doing them as ornaments. And I was going to do it in July for Christmas in July. And it didn't happen because I needed I don't know, I needed to kind of put space out, and I wasn't sure what I was doing. There was no instructions. And then I tried it. Wasn't 100% working. And on the Zoom that we had over World Cross Stitch Weekend, some people talked me through things. And then it kind of made a bit more sense and helped me out. And so I ended up doing 2 this week. So I'm going to show them to you. They're not on their full ornament set yet. But look, we have 2 ugly sweaters done. Yay! I did this one first. And then I decided I wanted a whole nother color scheme. And I did the blues. What's funny is I've probably, well, maybe not this one, but... well, I know I have a top with a snowflake on it, but it would be entirely possible. In the 90s and 2000s, I could easily have had a sweater that looks like this. That's what's really funny about doing these, is that I wear things like this. I know, I do. So really helpful, the different things that people, you know, tips and tricks that people gave me. These are blank on the back. I'm of 2 minds. I mean, it's an ornament, so it's going to hang. If it's nestled in the tree, nobody will know. I might just leave it like that, or I might put paper on the back, but I don't know if it's worth it to take the time to cut and trace and paste and all that other stuff when it's just a nice simple back in the back there. So we will see. I've been looking at some baker's twine, and I have some ideas for you. So this one right here, I think I wanted to do, I don't have a strand, but I was thinking of doing this blue right here. And I can tell you, if you're interested, baker's twine, this one is the Twinery. Now the Twinery, I believe, went out of business, but I think if you look at Etsy or you Google, I think there's people that still sell the Twinery. There's the Twinery and Divine Twine are the 2 bigger ones that I remember. I mean, there's other companies that also do it, but when I was card making, I used twine a lot. When I had my Etsy and my standalone shop, I would sell yardage of twine, and this one was called Midnight Blue. That's why I have the notes in all of them, so that I would know what they are and when I would pull them out for an order. So I think I'm going to do that. Now, on this one, I'm not 100% sure. I have a green and a red. I'm leaning towards the red. Well, I'm going to pull them both out. I originally had pulled out the green, but there's a lot of green. So I'm not 100% sure. I had even put it through to see. Then I thought about the red, because maybe I pull that out because it pulls more of the red out. So that's an idea with that one. Now, I do want to have a quick shout out to Carla from Carla Being Crafty, because Carla has done diamond painting before, and I remember her talking about this, and then I reached out to her to ask her for the specifics. Let's see if you can tell. These ornaments, you know, you put the, I don't know what they're called. I'm calling them little jewels because they remind me of the flat back crystals I would use when I would put on cards. There was space, sticky space between all the jewels. And so there's definitely the potential for lots of dust and stuff to get stuck to that, right? You know, when they're out and about. But I remember Carla saying, and I have no idea if the camera would pick it up, that there's such a thing as, well, she called them 2 things, micro beads, which when I tried to search, I was having trouble on Amazon, but then caviar beads, which I guess is something people put on nails. I mean, you can see my nails. There's a reason why I wouldn't have any idea what a caviar bead is, because I don't do my nails. But it's these teeny tiny, where is it? Did I put it in the bag? Oh yeah, I did. These teeny tiny, I want to say these are these are 8 millimeters right here. Somewhere between 0.6 and or whatever the labels are. So that's, look at how many are in there too. Tons. And you basically, I put that in this, right? Put it in there, and then I just poured it all over it, pushed it on in, and then I'm able to, for the most part, I didn't make much of a mess. I was really proud of myself, because if there's a mess to be made, I will make it. It attaches to all of the sticky stuff, and you can't, you know, unless you look close, you don't see it. But it's kind of nice because then it kind of fills everything in, and then I don't have to worry about any type of dust and everything else getting stuck. So thank you, Carla, and thank you for answering all my questions about that. That was really wonderful of you to give me that information. I do have, now there's different colors and types of caviar beads. I had actually ordered a very kind of minty-ish green, which is coming later than what those ones came. But I'm glad I'm glad these ones came in because I don't think it would have complemented it well in this sense, but in some other cases it might. So I've got it coming, and there are other colors you can get. So, because Carla had said you could do clear or metallic, or you could match a color. I'll be interested to see what that looks like. And then, you know, if I like it and use it for something, then I can also get different colors. But I really enjoyed diamond painting. I found it relaxing. I found it, I had it all set up. I ended up buying more of these little trays. That was my shopping this week. These little trays, there was a package of 20 in them, and then this one came with the set, so that I could put out the different colors. These are the little bags that I use to put trading cards in, because what was I going to do with all of these afterwards? So I was able to put them in with their number, and now I'm able to find them again with when I do the next one. I don't know if I'll do all 12. But there's certainly more of those designs that I'd like to do. So that was a lot of fun. And I thought that was a nice small bit. And I have 4 Christmas trees. One is my completely handcrafted one, where everything had been made by either myself or Stitchy friends or friends that have sent me things that they've made. The other 3 trees downstairs do not, but I'm thinking, especially the 2 bedrooms that are guest bedrooms have pencil trees. And I thought it'd be fun to maybe throw those on there. So like if one of the kids was staying and they liked one of them, they could just take it with them kind of as a Christmas kind of little extra gift or whatever. So we'll see. You might be seeing lots of little Christmas ornaments and diamond painted ornaments being done, because it didn't take me long to do one once I had all of my supplies. I didn't have to spend a lot for the supplies, and it was enjoyable. So I could very well see doing a whole bunch, as ornaments, because it's a nice quick hour whatever to do. So lots of fun. Let me just take a quick sip of my tea. Okay, so that's stitching, that's diamond painting, that's plans. Moving on. Shopping, 0. I'm shocked. Usually once something comes in, if I'd ordered something, I open it, I look at it, I ooh and I ah over it, and then it goes on the table right here that I use for filming. And I came upstairs and I looked over and I said, there's nothing on the table. I didn't get anything. Like I told you, I do have the pre-order of those 3 patterns, whatever the other 2 are, coming after market, and when Lindy Stitches gets them, they're all physical patterns, of course. And then I've liked a couple of the Carolyn Mannings, but I think I would do digital with that. And I really like the Lola Crow one, but I think I would do digital. So there could be some more purchases in the future with that. Fabric of the month, I suppose they'd be coming at some point, and so there might be things to see. I don't know if they'd be for next week or not. We'll see. But yeah, 0 shopping whatsoever. All right, so that goes to giveaways. Last week, I was doing a special giveaway for 6,000 subscribers. In fact, I was giving away 3 $20 gift certificates to 123 Stitch, and I pulled 3 different names for those of you who said the word Villa. And I need to go to my other folder, album, whatever it's called. Okay, so the first winner is J. Thomas 739. Congratulations. I think with 123, I think I put in, if I remember, because I start to confuse the different companies. Some of them, I buy it, they give me a code, I give you the code. Other ones, I give the email it gets sent to. I'm almost sure 123 Stitch, you put the email in of who you're sending the gift card to, and then it just gets sent automatically. So I'll need emails for these 3 winners. J. Thomas 739. Then the second winner is Huckleberry Jams 8829. Congratulations, Huckleberry Jams. And the last winner is Christina Poindexter 4251. Congratulations, Christina. If you could get me your addresses, that would be fantastic. Email addresses, that would be fantastic, and then we can get that. Huckleberry Jams had said that it's hard to see sometimes. You notice I've been starting to put some things here just to kind of rotate some of the stuff, and that maybe I would do like a bulletin board up here. Great suggestion. I'm not sure how I would attach these because they're scrapbooked, or some of my other pieces. And I think eventually I would like to have stitched or rotate some stitched things that are more framed here. But what I thought I would do is sometimes I would just bring them up to show you then what they were. I did get asked what last week's one is called. Take It EC, as in the ocean sea. I think it's from Silver Creek, because I looked this morning. It is Silver Creek Samplers. This one is, it's got to be like Cottage Garden samplings. I didn't look 100%, but it sure looks like Cottage Garden. And then this one, Coastal Cola, is also a Silver Creek. So those both go in my smaller scrapbook. And so this week they're up here. And then next week, things will change. You know, I'll put them back afterwards when I look at them that way. But so thank you, Huckleberry Jams, for that suggestion. It was a really good one. I'm not sure I could translate that, but thank you for that idea. And I hope if I show them closer at some point so you can see what they are, that would also help. And if I can remember where they came from, helpful too. And not always small ones. I may end up doing a 8.5 by 11 or a 12 by 12, which this should fit into. I think this is a 12, just slightly bigger than a 12 by 12 opening. So hopefully that way we can kind of showcase and rotate some of my fully finished scrapbook pieces as well. Alrighty, the giveaway this week, I was going through and I wasn't sure what to do. And I was gifted this, and it's beautiful, but I think I'd like to share it with somebody who I think this is adorable. I don't do this kind of decor, and I think it's beautiful. And how fun would that be if you do that kind of decor? So this is Brenda Gervais, I believe. Yeah, With Thy Needle and Thread, designs by Brenda Gervais, Keeper of the Pins. I think I counted, it's either 5 or 6 patterns in here. You can see a little up close there. And there's just, I think there's a fun thing that she talks about with tomatoes and all of that as well. So there's some general instructions. I don't know if there's anything finishing or anything like that. I didn't look at it that close. But I'd like you to say the word pins, P-I-N-S, Keeper of the Pins. So I'm going to go with that word. If you would like your name to go in for this little booklet from Brenda Gervais. I think that would be such a fun kind of finish if you ended up doing everything. And they go so well together. So pins. All right, that's it for the stitching. See, there was nothing to buy, so that made it quickly after I talked about my regular stitching. If you don't care about the life stuff, then I will see you later, and I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous week. All right, so what's happening, life? Why am I not sleeping? Well, Mo periodically has to travel for work. He works remotely, but that means sometimes he does have to actually go into the physical office, and this week was that time. He left first thing on Monday morning, and he is currently driving home as we speak, as I'm filming this. I know he texted me, I think at 7 in the morning, getting ready, getting his parents ready. Just let me know that he was on his way. By the time this video uploads, he will, fingers crossed, be here. And I haven't seen him all week. I don't sleep well. I was going to bed late, and I don't sleep well when he's not here. I do go to, normally I'm like a 10:30, 11 o'clock. It was after midnight every night this week before I went to bed. And then I couldn't sleep, or I woke up and couldn't go back to bed. It was just one of those weeks. I think one night I might have existed on 4 hours of sleep, and it kind of just snowballed from there. So I'm very, very, not only am I thrilled to be able to see him today, I really want a good night's sleep again. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I went to physical therapy yesterday, and that was helpful, really helpful. And the day before, I went to the doctor. If you're new, I broke my toe, my big toe, at the end of July. So it's been just over 4 weeks. And I've been wearing this shoe thing that they give you, this, whatever they're called, special so that your foot doesn't move kind of shoe, since then. And so I went to the doctor on Wednesday. She redid the x-rays. I was a little worried because, you know, something like that, you don't know. Is it healing properly? I mean, I can't see it. I'm like, okay, it doesn't hurt radically. It's feeling better, and it's not as black and blue, but I don't know. But yay, the fracture is healing well. She said she could see it, but she said it's much less obvious that it is healing and the bone is redoing whatever the bone has to do. And she was really pleased with that. I am not out of the shoe. I have graduated to an hour a day, 2 hours a day of a regular shoe, and then back in this thing, and slowly and slowly. I have to be smart. So I can't just do a full day and throw this thing out. I have to be smart, and hopefully within, she said, between 10 days and 30, depending on my body and what it does, I should be then graduated to just a shoe full-time, a regular old shoe, and not this thing. I asked when I could be barefoot because I'm a barefoot girl, and that was a big no-go. I don't see her again until October 1st. And until that time, it's a big no-go. I have to be wearing shoes on that foot at all times. If you knew me, I go through winter barefoot. I love being barefoot. So this is so difficult. But anyway, in order to be healed properly, I'll do what she says. So we are slowly getting there. I think I did. I mean, I didn't sit there and walk around for an hour straight. But like when I was making my lunch, I put the other shoe on, and, you know, you're walking around, you're prepping, you're cleaning things up, whatever. I ate my lunch, then you get up and you're, you know, doing whatever other stuff you need to do. I think I gave it like an hour. I was good. And then I just changed out again. So hopefully that will continue to get better. And each day I can do a little bit more regular shoe and get out of this thing. And the physical therapist, it was great. We purposely did the appointment after I saw the doctor so he could hear what she said and move on and continue to try to work on my hip and my back without aggravating that. So we talked about that and what to do, but I had taken a step back. But when he was looking at range of motion on the hip and the back, he said things are looking pretty good. So fingers crossed. And I just have to pay attention. I'm not allowed to walk big steps, which when you're short, right, to keep up with people, you take big steps. Well, either that or you take about 3 steps for the person's next to you, 1 step. And it was funny. He said, 99% of my patients, I'm telling them they have to take bigger steps. For you, you have to take smaller steps. So that's been a little bit difficult for me, but that's the only way I won't aggravate it. So we're working on it. We're getting there. And new exercises, new little exercise snacks to put extra in my day that maybe will help the situation too, which I will do as soon as this video is over. I promise I will do some to kind of get myself up and moving. So my in-laws are coming down. Mo was staying up in Connecticut. That's where they are. In fact, he stayed with them. And they were not able to go away this summer. They would go back home to Ireland every year, just about. And with my father-in-law's health, that's not necessarily going to happen anymore. And so we said to them, well, we know you couldn't do that. Come down to us for a week and just kind of chill out and enjoy being down here at the beach. And so they're in the car with Mo coming on down, and they will be here for a week, spending some time with us. Now, I'm sure I'll still get stitching done because obviously things are low key. They are, you know, they like to do their own kind of, they have the routine, right? You know, and they're not going to be going out sightseeing and so on and so forth. They like to do whatever they like to do in their routine during the day, and then we can do things from there and spend time from there with them. So I will still get stitching in, probably less, but there'll be something that you'll see next week. Maybe it'll be a shorter video because this one clearly is not going to be on the short side. But so that's fun. I haven't seen them since, I don't know if I've seen them this year actually. I don't remember. So it'll be good to see them in person rather than just on the screen, on the camera screen. So looking forward to that. And there'll be some active, different stuff going on in the end of August and through September. Lots of different things going on weekends wise and so on and so forth. So I actually am doing things. I'm pretty much, I'm a home person. I'm comfortable in my home. I'm shy. So I sometimes feel out of place trying to be out and about all the time. And so you generally don't hear a lot about other stuff that I do, but we've got some stuff coming up. So it should be kind of fun. And hopefully you'll be hanging out with me, listening to the different things and plans. So thank you for that. That's about it, I think. Yeah, nothing specific plan-wise this week. We're just kind of going to go with the flow and enjoy it. The weather is beautiful. It is about 60 degrees overnight, and then it's been low 70s during the day, but sunny. So it is absolutely gorgeous right now, and they're going to have a good week to be here. I mean, they wouldn't have minded if it was raining all week, but this is a good week to be here. So I'm going to enjoy that. It definitely is a different feel in the air. It most definitely feels like autumn is. We've kind of turned that corner away from any like crazy heat and gone now towards more of the cooler, still warm but cooler temperatures. So that's it. Alrighty, that's all I got. So stitching will be this, that, and the other. Getting ready though for I Spy. So sometime next week, I'm hoping to put out the I Spy prompts for September. So if you like to plan, unlike me, and you like to decide things ahead of time, then that's coming. And hopefully the flip through, because I'll hopefully be getting more sleep and we'll be able to chat about that. And that's about it. That's all I know for sure coming this week. And I have to pick out my trading card patterns. Somebody said the cards are on the way for the swap, and I am so impressed and amazed and in awe of the organization from so many of you. I'm still thinking about what I'm going to stitch. So we'll see, but hopefully that's coming. Anyway, all right, I hope you're well. I hope you are safe. I hope that this weekend brings you whatever you need it to bring you, and you have the best weekend, the best week that is available to you. And until next time, happy stitching.